My name's Doug Dane, and your mistaken identity may be causing you trouble and stunting your personal and your professional growth. You might be holding back from a better life because you're mistaken about your true potential, or you're mistaken about some of the things that you believe or believe about yourself. So today, here's a daily tip from my book, Mistaken Identity, to help you let go of what's holding you back so you can stop hiding and start living. My father, he was a man of a lot of contradictions. I mean, he came from a pretty bad place himself. In fact, yesterday I was going through some old photographs of him when he was a young teenage man heading off to war. And so he fought in World War II. He was drafted and he went overseas to Europe to fight, and he returned home wounded. One of his brothers was killed. Another one ended up in a mental institution, or whatever they called it back then, a hospital for patients that had been injured in the war. I don't have the right terminology. Forgive me. My dad had a pretty rough life starting out. He grew up in a pretty not so great situation with his parents, and watched them raise boys. He was brought up in that. Goes to war, witnesses what men witness, comes back as a broken man, literally shell shocked and traumatized. And then he becomes a father, becomes a husband, and becomes a father. And he was a father figure in a lot of ways, but he was abusive, and he abused himself. He abused his kids. He abused his wife, my mom, and she suffered because of all that. And he had a real distorted perception of manhood and fatherhood, and what it was like to be a husband, what was okay and what was not okay. And, I certainly didn't want to turn out like him, but I could have, but I didn't. I didn't turn out abusive like him. I didn't turn out alcoholic like him. I didn't turn out violent like him. I just did not want to turn out like him. But just to give you an example of how the sort of things were, when I was little, he used to beat on my mom. And one time he dragged her down in the basement, told me to follow, and he stuck a shotgun down her throat and said, "Now this is how you treat a woman." And these were some of the lessons that I learned. This is in the book, in the chapter where I talk about how I started shooting on myself. I of course began making mistakes in my relationships and wasn't very good at it. Luckily, I didn't become my father. I was always a kind, gentle man, but I made a lot of mistakes in relationships, wrecked a lot of relationships, never felt good in relationships. And of course, because I wasn't doing very well, I was shitting on myself. And when you're shitting on yourself, then you can't do very well, and you definitely can't make very good decisions. So this continued on for a long, long time until I understood this story that I'd gone through, and I understood my own mistaken identity, where I could undo all that and throw all that away, take off the mask, and really, be myself, be my true self, and not follow in the footsteps and the legacy of my father. So I had real distortion in my mind and in my subconscious and in my experience from what I had gone through as a kid, and then carried that through to relationships, just trying to get it right, trying to be a good guy, and making mistakes along the way, hurting people, just trying to do well and try to get it right. But of course, just kept shitting on myself and I shouldn't have done that. You should have done this. You should have done that. My dad tell me what I should have done when I was a boy, or what a man should do to a woman. Well, thank God I didn't let that get into me. And so I just wanted to tell you that you've got to clear out this junk and this debris that's in your filter, so your mind is clear and your perception is pure, and then your decisions flow easily, and the right thing to do flows easily, comes easily. You're not second guessing or doubting yourself. But if you keep operating, with these mistaken beliefs and this mistaken identity, operating with insecurities because of how you feel about yourself, because you were shitting on yourself, you're going to stay stuck. So listen, if you're struggling to get ahead, it's a case of mistaken identity. My book and my coaching try to guide you to let go of your mistaken beliefs so you can enjoy your life more. When you free yourself from your mistaken identity, you feel better about yourself, and everything in life gets better. And make no mistake, You deserve better. If you haven't got my book yet, get it now. It's literally a 30-day system for discovering your true potential, getting unstuck from this mistaken identity. Stop shitting on yourself. So click the link in the email I sent you, or go to DougDane.com and get the book and go through the book. I'm telling you, this will change your life. Thank you.